Dark Souls, the perfect start to a perfect series. I've been excited to play this game ever since I beat Dark Souls 3, and it didn't disappoint. As you may or may not know, up until Elden Ring, I had never played a Soulsborne game. I loved Elden Ring so much that it became my second favorite game of all time. Because of this newfound love, I had to go back and play all the other games. I've already beat Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, so if you like what you see in this video, you should go back and watch those. And by the time this video is published, I should already be streaming Dark Souls 2. So if you want a more personal experience, you can come watch me play through that game as well. Anyways, enough rambling. Let's get into my first ever playthrough of Dark Souls. I started by making my character. I gave him the name of Jambalaya, and it was time to break out of prison. Luckily it was pretty easy, because this handsome fella just dropped me my cell key. So, hard part made easy, I guess. Afterward, I stumbled across the asylum demon, and since it was pretty obvious it was going to take longer to kill this guy than it would to just live out my sentence, I ventured off to find a better weapon. So that I did. I came back with a better weapon and high ground. I hit him with a nasty plunge attack, whacked him a few more times, and I could finally leave. Please tell me I'm not the only one that got jump scared by the bird. My bird friend dropped me off at Firelink Shrine. This guy made it pretty clear that I was supposed to go ring some bells, so I started my journey. While exploring the immediate area, I found the Zweihander. This would be my weapon of choice for the rest of the game. But first, I had to go get levels so that I could even use it. So I headed to Undead Burg, killing most of anything I could see, except this dragon. He looks like he'd kick my ass. Shortly after the dragon encounter, I found a bonfire. This came in handy because right after that I died. After some more exploring, I came across the next boss, Taurus Demon. Luckily, I realized there were archers up here beforehand, so I climbed up the ladder, dropped on his head, whacked him in the pecker till he was dead. Demon goes down on the first try. Afterward, I met Solaire for the first time. I hope to see him in the future for some jolly cooperation. Oh yeah, the dragon from earlier burned me alive. But he also burns everybody else on the bridge, giving me a pretty neat soul farm. I went up to the bridge, triggered his fire breath, everybody burns, and I get souls. Eventually, I did this long enough to get enough levels to wield the Zweihander, which I would then use to conquer the undead parish. Here's a neat trick that I learned from Jacksepticeye. If you throw an alluring skull at this fire, the pig dives headfirst right into it. And they say bacon doesn't make itself. Going a little further, I found the bonfire to Andre and Sen's fortress. Oh, Siegmeyer was there too. A little later, I discovered the shortcut to Firelink Shrine, so I went down, reset my Estus, and went back to challenge the Bell Gargoyles. Yes, gargoyles as in plural, because there are two of them. Nothing like the power of friendship, I guess. I ended up taking the first one out right before the second one even came down, so after dodging his fire breath a few times, he went down pretty quickly too. And the gargoyles go down on the first try. Killing them let me ring the first bell. Afterward, I went and unlocked a basement with a key I never realized I got. I killed some demon doggos, put some clothes on, and challenged the Capra demon. This fight is dumb as hell. The two dogs alone could be considered a boss fight. But no, there also has to be a demon that wants to pounce on you like he's a priest and you're a 9-year-old boy. Eventually, after running around the arena, I killed the dogs. Since the dogs were dead, I could finally plunge attack the demon, then showed him what a big boy sword is really supposed to feel like, and Capra demon goes down in one try. He drops the key to the depths, so that's exactly where I went next. This is where I find some random guy trapped in a barrel. Never found him again after that. And then I killed the undead version of Gordon Ramsay. After that, I had to head through the sewers, filled with curse frogs and rats and all kinds of bullshit. This was giving me flashbacks to the Irithyll dungeon. But at the end was a boss fight, the Gaping Dragon. This is one of the craziest designed enemies I've ever seen. And don't let his ginormous size fool you, because on the first try I had him damn near dead, and then he jumped up like 40 fucking feet just to land right back down on my head. The second try didn't go much better. But on the third, I sliced his tail off, dodged his 40-foot slams, and killed him. Gaping Dragon goes down on the third try. He drops the Blighttown key, so you can guess where I'm heading to next. I tried to go the way that you unlock with the key, but I died and had curse. So I went back to Firelink, cured my curse, and went the back way to Blighttown. I dropped down the elaborate scaffolding and ended up at Quelaag, also known as Spider Titties. Of course, I get her one shot on my first attempt and choke. But on the second try, I kited her around, playing more cautiously, avoiding all the damn lava she spews everywhere, and Quelaag goes down on the second try. With spider titties out of the way, I was able to ring the next bell. This opens Sen's Fortress, but before I went there, I went to Firelink Shrine to reset my Estus and talk to this weird snake guy. He eats stuff. Once I made it to Sen's Fortress, I had to beat up a bunch of snakes and dodge traps. Well, try my best to dodge them anyway. Eventually I made it to the top where I found the Iron Golem. I wanted to fight, but he had other plans. Once he finally stabilized, I hacked away at his ankles till he was finally dead. Then this ring appeared, and when I touched it, my old friends from Dark Souls 3 came down to pick me up. They brought me to Aurora. Once I touched down, I couldn't help but enjoy the view. Eager to see what this place was all about, I sat at the bonfire, then began heading into town. While I enjoyed Aurora, I can't show you. For some reason, OBS recorded in one frame every 10 minutes for the entirety of Aurora. I have absolutely no clue why. Not even the Ornstein and Smo fight was recorded correctly. And for that, I sincerely apologize, but hopefully Titties makes up for it. Once I made it back, I talked to the snake guy. He brought me down to the Lord Vessel. When I touched it, a cutscene started, showing all the other places finally unlocking. All I had left to do was gather 4 Lord Souls, so that's exactly what I did. But first, I went to kill the Moonlight Butterfly. I summoned Beatrice for this, just for shits and giggles. Glad I did, because I didn't have any ranged attacks, so she made quick work of the butterfly. It was finally time to go get our first Lord Vessel, so I went to the catacombs. This place sucked. It was so easy to get overwhelmed by skeletons, because they don't die. The only way to get rid of them was to kill the wizards. I couldn't find them all, so I was stuck getting gangbanged every time I turned a corner. And boy, were there corners to fucking turn. I got lost down here so many times. Eventually, I found my way down to this hole, and when I dropped, a friendly skeleton broke this wall for me. Then he told me to fuck off. But I couldn't even rest at the bonfire because the damn skeletons followed me down. And since they don't die, I couldn't just kill them, so I just left and got killed by wagon wheel skellies. I have never been more pissed off in my life. Eventually I made it down here alone, got the bonfire, died one more time to the wagon wheels, and finally made it to the next boss, Pinwheel. I'm going to show this whole fight so that you know I didn't die. I don't want to get memed for being one of the 4 people to ever die to Pinwheel. Killing him gives me the right of kindling that I so well deserved. Moving on to the Tomb of the Giants. This was just a dark cave with bigger skeletons and a bunch of places to fall down, meaning lots of ways to die. And mind you, every time I die, I had to go back through the wagon wheels of death. I also ran into Patches here. He's still a bitch. After many moments of rage, I finally made it to the boss fight, Gravelord Nito. This fight was rough. It had skellies in the arena, making it hard to go anywhere, and even if I could move around them, I still had Nito's AoE to deal with. After going through all my flasks and figuring out a way to deal with the mobs, I was finally able to beat him on the 3rd try. First Lord Soul acquired. Up next is the Duke's Archives. I literally went in, killed a couple dudes, and was at the boss fight. Or so I thought. This was just a fake, with a scripted death. When you come back to life, it turns out you got imprisoned. Again, when you escape, the snake guards turn on the alarm, which makes some worm things come after you. They weren't shit, there was just a lot of them. But after you get done killing all of them, all you have to do now is go up to the top and kill all the snake guys. But for some reason, this was super hard for me. I just kept dying. But eventually, after a bunch of tries, I came up with a tactic. I was going to lead them down the ladder, one by one, and kill them off that way. This seemed to actually work. Once I killed the last one that was still up top, and I finally got the key to this door. A little later, I dropped these stairs and traversed the fog to the forest? This leads to the Crystal Cave. Fuck this place. I had to watch a guide to even get through here. The invisible bridges upset me more than they probably should have. And even if I did make it across one, I would just get pummeled by a crystal fuck anyway. But I toughed through it and finally found the real seat to Scaleless. Other than dying because I didn't understand how the crystals worked, this fight was pretty easy. I just ran around him and smacked him until he was dead. Seath goes down on the second try. The next Lord Soul was basically down in hell, and boy was the journey there a long one. I went right outside of Quailag's boss room to kill Ceaseless Discharge. I'm sure we've all heard the jokes before, so I don't even have to say anything. I tried to do a strat that I saw Jacksepticeye use, but honestly, I don't even remember how he did it, so I ended up just fighting him normally. Well, I tried to. We really just traded punches like an episode of Hajime no Ippo, but since I have the luxury of healing, he didn't stand much of a chance. Traveling a bit lower, I ran into a bunch of Taurus demons. My plan was to lure them out one by one, but they just kept coming in pairs. Luckily, I'm pretty strong, so this wasn't a problem. Also, since when does lava one-shot you? Apparently there was a demon reunion I wasn't aware of. They didn't like me barging in, so I was escorted out, but I came back to reassure them that I was invited. After killing some more demons, oh, and this centipede thing, I finally made it to the next boss. Another demon, but he went down pretty easily. Directly beneath him was another boss fight with yet another demon, but at least this one was different. He kept trying to nab me from deep in the lava lake, but I wouldn't budge, so he got closer and clapped my cheeks. The second time around, I didn't go down so easy though. With the centipede demon out of the way, I could finally reach Lost Izalith. After running over some tree roots and a bit of lava, I found the next bonfire. If you've played this game before, then you know what's up ahead. I started my long journey up to the next boss room. Once I finally made it, I traversed the fog and slid down to the bed of chaos. Holy balls, do I have some stuff to say about this boss. But we can save that for later. Breaking the first core is easy, nothing to worry about. But this pisses it off, turning the area into that board game where you gotta break the ice and hope the penguin doesn't fall, except it's 1,000 times more frustrating. All I can say is thank God you keep your progress when you die. Otherwise, I would have never beat this boss. But still, even when I die, I have to make this long ass run back to the arena. I don't know how long this took, but eventually I made it to the center core just to find out some bug was doing all this dumb shit. At least there's only one more Lord Soul to get. And that Lord Soul belongs to the 4 Kings, so I grabbed the key and headed to the boss room. Except, I didn't know I needed a special ring to actually reach the arena without dying. And in order to get that ring, I had to go through Sif. I never thought a boss fight would make me feel bad about beating the boss. I'm the kind of person who is unfazed if I watch a person die in a movie, but it's waterworks if I see any kind of animal die, especially dogs. But I'll let the end of the fight speak for itself, and I promise you, I did not want to do it. Once I got the ring from Sif, I headed back, but forgot to even equip the rings, so I died again. After finally surviving the fall, I was in the boss fight with the 4 Kings. This fight wasn't that hard, it just took forever because there was 4 of them. All I really had to do was dodge around and hit them when I got a chance for like 5 minutes. After obtaining the last Lord Soul, I had two more things left to do before the end of the game. The first was to go to the painted world of Ariamis. In order to get there, I had to go get a doll from the asylum I escaped at the beginning of the game. So I hopped in a bird nest and got Ubered over. Once I got there, I grabbed the doll and killed the other demons so I could leave. Now I could finally head to the painted world. When I got there, I couldn't help but notice how similar it is to the DLC for Dark Souls 3, even down to the Corvian enemies. I don't think this was there though. You even had to pull an underground lever to open the boss door, and who would have guessed the boss was a baddie with a scythe and exposed feet. It's cool to go back and see the inspiration the old games had on the new ones. After my short exploration of Ariamis, I jumped into the void that brought me back. Now it's finally time for the DLC. First, I had to go kill this crystal golem to get this pendant so I could actually unlock it. I literally spawned in front of a boss door, so of course I went through it, and then I met the Sanctuary Guardian. This boss is already a step up from the base game. It's way faster than anything I've faced till now. I actually did really good on the first try, but of course I choked it in the end. A couple of tries later and I was able to beat him. Then I wandered into Ulasil Sanctuary. This is where I met this mushroom lady. She asked me to go save a princess. Then I wandered into Royal Woods. This is where I had my first run-in with Calamite. Not too much further and I found the next boss, Artorias. I was finally facing the legend himself, and he did not disappoint. He killed me pretty quick on the first try, and I didn't even get to touch him on the second. But the third, well, I'll let you see for yourself. After paying my respects, I headed to Ulasil Township. It only goes downhill from here. No, literally, every set of stairs went down, and if it wasn't stairs, it was dropping off a ledge or going down an elevator. I did this until I made it here, and for some reason, I thought I was supposed to jump. After making my way through the Chasm of the Abyss, I made it to the boss room. Let me tell you something about Manus. Bro is one tough cookie. This is by far the hardest boss in Dark Souls 1. At least it is for me. He wiped the floor with me. Up till now, I've beaten every boss within the first few tries. Not this guy, he took me 15 tries. Most of my deaths were from his wombo combo move or this move. It took me forever to figure out how to dodge that. At one point, I watched a tip video on how to fight him, but all they said was to stay away and attack when you can. Like, no shit. So I kinda tried to do that. With Manus dead, there is only one more boss in the DLC, so I headed over to Goff. He starts the quest to fight Calamite, the big dragon that I met earlier. Goff has you go right outside the boss room to trigger Calamite. Once that happens, you go back to Goff and a cutscene starts. Yeah, bro is a top tier NPC. Now we can finally fight Calamite. This fight is pretty tough, nowhere near as bad as Manus though. He's the kind of boss that doesn't let you make a lot of mistakes, but after downloading his moveset into my brain, I was able to beat him. Afterward, I went and told Goff about my victory, then went to end the game. I walked down the stairs to the kiln of the first flame, made a very long run to the boss room, and entered the fog. Unfortunately, I died on the first try, but on the second try, achieved victory. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because I have more on the way. I've been streaming my playthrough of Dark Souls 2 and having an absolute blast, so drop by if you want to chill. Anyways, catch you guys later.